Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. We appreciate your coming to our webinar today. And I'm Brian Friedman. I'll be hosting the webinar. I have a couple of members of our tech team with me also for more technical questions that may come up during the course of this webinar. So a few things just to get us started. If you do have any questions, please feel free to post them into the Q&A section on the webinar panel. We are creating a recording of this webinar, so we will distribute that later on to those who attended. And also during the course of the webinar, we will be putting up a number of polling questions. Please feel free to answer those questions. We'll have about a 15 or 20 second period after the question goes up to provide an answer. So with that, let's get started. And we'll begin with our first question. What we're asking here is those of you who are using a knowledge management system, if you could identify which system you're using, that would be great. All right, terrific. So with that, why don't we get started? And we're going to begin with a quick introduction to knowledge management, how it works, and what it does. So in terms of knowledge management, what it really is a way to keep information together to help share valuable information internally with different team members within a company and or externally with customers. And the general purpose of it really is to be able to bring together a single source of truth that gives the right answers to a varied set of questions. So knowledge management helps us gather that information. In older systems, we'll see people or companies with binders of notebooks, for example, that have pages and pages of information that are tabbed and give answers to different questions that may come up. What knowledge management does is it provides a much more modern way to keep that information together and to be able to distribute it to various people. So as I mentioned, it can be used internally within a company. It can be used externally, and different pieces of information can be tagged so that information is available to some people or not others, or certain levels of information are available to different people. So what this allows a company to do is to address specific issues with the discrete data and information that's necessary. What we often saw, and especially before the pandemic, is that there were people who had internal tribal knowledge at a company. And so very often, if questions would come in, there'd be a person, an individual, a group of people who had the information, who had the answers, and they'd be called upon to provide the right information, the right type of content when questions arose. The pandemic really highlighted the fact that this is a problem because those people were no longer readily accessible to internal and external teams, and the need for a knowledge management solution became even more real, more relevant, more necessary. And if we look at the numbers, the size of the market for knowledge management is huge. 381 billion in 2020, projected to reach over $1.5 trillion by 2027. And you can see why. If you look at some of these statistics, 75% of customers believe it takes too long to reach a live agent. And 74% of organizations believe effective knowledge management increases productivity by 10 to 40%. Taking those two things together, the first part of it says we need to have a better way for customers to get answers to their questions quickly, efficiently, and accurately. If they're always relying upon going to a live agent, the cost of that service is very expensive for a company. Always having to have agents available, having those people really fully trained to understand the nuances, the answers to different questions. And so what we're really looking for is a way to have a knowledge repository that has this information, that has accurate information, that can be accessed easily, and that provides the right answers. So Fortune 500 firms thought they lost $31 billion due to poor knowledge sharing policies. So what we want to do is we really want to find an appropriate, efficient way to give answers, to give the right information, to keep customers satisfied. And also, we don't want to focus just on customers, because very often knowledge management is used internally to disseminate information within the company as well. So the benefits of using knowledge management: obviously, you decrease the loss of know-how. Back to the conversation and the statement about tribal knowledge, you don't want to be reliant upon 1, 2, or 3 people who have all the answers, who have all the information. You really want to be in a situation where you've got this knowledge in a central repository and not dependent upon one or a group of people. It's a very cost-effective way of managing information, much less costly than having live agents. And so you don't want to completely replace live agents, but what you do want to be able to do is have a situation where the knowledge platform can be used to as a first line of information. And then ultimately, if the customer can't get the information they're looking for, then they're routed to a live agent. A knowledge platform also allows us to exchange ideas internally. So you've got an integrated platform, maybe an article is being developed, and different people can contribute to that article to make sure that it's got the relevant information, that you're drawing upon all of the appropriate internal resources to create the best types of information, the best types of articles that can be done to give to customers or to give to employees. And along that line, it helps align customers and employees, because the information is consistent, it's relevant, and it's accurate. So you've got a much better situation where you've got all parties aligned and all parties informed. So let's look at a couple of instances where we've helped companies using knowledge management to improve their systems. The first use case is an international automotive OEM. They conduct business around the world, and they had a very disrupted and disjointed information policy. So what this really did, the use of this knowledge system that we implemented for them, it assisted their dealers and it assisted their customers. So it gave a much better search functionality for the dealers to be able to find the information they were looking for quickly and easily. It provided a knowledge base operational decision mechanism so that there was better business intelligence. There was a better way to see and understand different things that were happening within the company, and to be able to make better decisions as a result of that information. It significantly reduced the call center costs, because what we were doing is we used this knowledge center, this knowledge base, to deflect calls initially. Customer has an issue, they come in, they ask the knowledge base. If the knowledge base is able to quickly, efficiently give the right answer, the customer leaves very satisfied, very quickly. They don't need to rely upon an agent. So the whole issue there is call deflection. And we do that because it has an accurate and efficient search mechanism. So in each of these instances, you've got a user base and a knowledge base that's always learning, always improving, and is therefore able to provide better and more relevant information when a customer or a dealer looks for a question, looks for an answer. The second use case in the finance industry is with a member-owned full-service financial institution. And what we did there, again, is we provided accurate and efficient search. And we did that in a different way because the knowledge base wasn't sitting as a separate functionality. It was actually embedded in the customer portal. And so the customer comes in, they're looking for information about their accounts, for example. The knowledge base is embedded right there. So they don't even have to look or spend time looking for where to find the knowledge base, where to find questions and answers. They could do it very easily right on the customer portal. And we improved the way the search took place. So again, we were looking to make sure that the customer could use natural language in order to be able to search for information, not have to be very specific in their questions, but really just phrase it in natural language the way that they normally would to try to find information that they were looking for. And then we also found a way, and we created a way for there to be notifications and user feedback on the articles. And this is very important because what you're doing is you're always having the knowledge management system learn as you go which articles provide the right information, which articles were helpful. By rating and scoring those articles, you've got the ability to provide better information to people in the future who are asking similar types of questions. Our third use case is with an IT company. And what they were looking for is a way to have a much better knowledge management system and a much better way to access the information. So here, what we did is we implemented a dynamic knowledge base. And also we focused on the way to maintain articles. And the idea here is really, you've got to be able to create good information at the front end to be able to provide good information at the back end. And we did this with a highly interactive website so that there was an easy way to access the resources, whether it was knowledge-based information, whether it was a live agent. And then finally, there was a customer portal so that the customers could access this information. And we did it on a rule-based level. So certain individuals could get access to all of the content. Some other individuals would get access only to content that was relevant for them. So all of these things really gave us the ability to create a very interactive system for this customer. So next, we've got another poll question for you. We'll just take a break here for a moment. And what we're looking for here is some information on the challenges that your company is facing. Okay, so what we see is that keeping accurate data is really one of the big challenges, and it's one of the big challenges we see with a lot of companies. That they have these challenges, they have these issues where accurate data is really a problem for them. So if we look here, what we see as some of the challenges are, number one, to make search easy. Number two, to keep the system secure. Three is to have multiple knowledge silos or repositories, where we can measure the contributors, who's contributing to the knowledge platform, who's offering good information, who's offering less relevant information, those types of things. Keeping up with ever-changing technology, identifying knowledge gaps, and finally interpreting the data effectively. So we'll have another question here before we launch into a discussion of Kapture. If you've looked at knowledge, what is your number one priority in knowledge management features? Okay, so what we see is natural language search and image search are the two big issues in terms of knowledge management features. So let's introduce you to Kapture. And by way of background, what we've done is, with our experience working with companies who have implemented knowledge platforms and looking at the various things that work for them and don't work for them in the existing platforms, we decided to build a new platform. And what we did is we started from the ground up and we built a new platform called Kapture. And basically, Kapture is a modern API-driven knowledge management platform. Consists really of three areas of functionality: the platform itself, the authoring platform, and the search functionality. And we'll get into each of these three areas in much more detail as we talk about the components of Kapture and why we've done what we've done with Kapture to meet the needs of the market, as well as to be in a situation where we're providing a much newer, more modern, more relevant knowledge management platform. So at a high level, there's 8 different features in Kapture that we'll go through: the content authoring portion, the platform and solution architecture, the intelligent search, dictionary tuning, user management, API-driven interfaces, content migration, and reports and analytics. The reason we're focusing on these 8 things is we found in our experience that there are shortcomings in the existing platforms in each of these 8 areas, and we sought to build something that was newer, more modern, more functional, and could expand and grow in the future to provide a much better experience at the company level as well as the end user level. So if we start with content authoring, the Kapture platform has a web-based content editor. So you've got a web interface that can manage the complete content lifecycle of creating content, of editing that content, approving it, etc. And the workflows are really dynamic in terms of how the content is created, whether it's an individual who's approving their own content, whether it's several people contributing and another party who is editing the content and approving it. There's all kinds of different levels of functionality with that. And another unique feature that we've created, which really applies throughout the entire content lifecycle, is what we call the float feature. And what float does is it allows an editor to provide new information that's relevant to a number of different articles or categories without going in and editing those articles or categories individually. So as one example, if you've got a number of different articles that are relating to, say, bank account management, and rather than going in and editing each of those articles individually, the float feature allows you to tag all of the articles that deal with bank account management and add new content that's relevant. We can also do this on a short-term basis. So let's say, for example, there's a promotion that's running on opening new checking accounts. We can tag in that information for a period of time, and then the new information expires at the end of the promotion. So it's a very modern way to be able to manage an extremely difficult problem in knowledge management. And we see this because we work with companies that have tens of millions of documents. And for them to go in and to provide this type of a change or modification on a long-term or short-term basis is extremely problematic. But with the float feature, it's a much more modern way to do it. Can be done quickly, easily, without an awful lot of work on anyone's part. So in the content authoring side, we're looking to make it easy, very simple, very accurate for someone to do without having to have a lot of knowledge about how to work the platform itself. It's just basically a web-based content editor. The second feature is that Kapture is a flexible platform solution architecture. It can be deployed either on-prem or in the cloud. If it's in the cloud, single tenant or multi-tenant. It scales automatically so that as the content base grows, the system itself grows. It has multilingual support, currently 22 languages, and in the content creation feature, we can use those various languages at the content creation phase. So very easy to have multilingual articles that are going to be the same and relevant in different countries and different languages. And we also provide for external content crawling. And what that means is that we're able to go and look in other databases, other sources of content to bring information into the Kapture platform. SharePoint is an example. Websites are an example. All of those things can be brought in to be part of the knowledge base and part of the Kapture platform. We provide advanced intelligent search, because one of the most important things is that if you are coming to look for something, you want to be able to find the most relevant article that answers your question as quickly as possible. And we do use natural language processing for this, as well as we've got image recognition and OCR. So in this case, if you're looking for a mountain range, very possibly you could type in mountain range and get a picture of this, or you could put a picture of the mountain range and you can get a response that says, this is a particular mountain range. So all of this really allows for a very intelligent platform that gives a much better user experience, is very intuitive. And the whole idea is to make this as easy as possible for the authors, the approvers, and the users. And in each of those cases, the documents are always the most relevant possible. The other thing that is a problem in other knowledge platforms that is solved with Kapture is that when new content is created in the typical platform, it takes a period of time to refresh the database to make that article available to the users. In Kapture, when the document is created itself, it's instantly available within the search platform. So all of the content is always relevant and extremely up to date. On dictionary tuning, what we have is a way to make sure that the content that's appropriate is always coming to the top. And we have several different ways of doing this. The boosting rules say if someone finds an article and it answers their question, they indicate thumbs up, thumbs down, 1 to 5, whatever it might be, that this is the appropriate answer to their question. If the answer isn't the best answer, then they do a negative rating, and it decreases the way that that particular content shows up in the future. So all of these things allow us to optimize the search and have much better search results for the customer, because we're always improving the search quality. We're improving the way in which search results come up. And we're doing this through sourcing from the users themselves, as well as how the users interact with the content that comes up. So really a much more modern way of tracking and finding a way to give the best answers to the questions that are being asked. On the user management, it can be role-based. So as I've talked about a couple of times previously, you can allow certain people to see all documents and other people to see only certain documents that are relevant to their position, what they do, what they're looking for, etc. We can have a single sign-on. So, for example, if someone is logging into their bank account, they've automatically got access to the database, the knowledge base that's associated to the type of account or accounts that they have. We can have personalization. So over time, the user can start to indicate the types of information they're looking for, the satisfaction with the information they're given, and they can ultimately personalize their experience because of how they've used the system in the past. And finally, we can do a bulk import. So we can bring in information, data from other sources, so it doesn't have to be created anew when a customer switches over to the Kapture platform. We have an API-driven interface, so we can have a situation where a customer is building their own application without a lot of setup and integration work. They can customize at any point in time to make it more to the look and feel of the company and the company's branding and usage. And there's very simple integration with other third-party applications and sales platforms, which is very important because Kapture shouldn't stand alone as a knowledge platform. It should really be part of an integrated system with other applications that a company is using so that it is a component of customer service, for example, or an HR platform, and not just a standalone piece by itself. And then on the content migration, as I indicated, we can bring in significant quantities of existing content. The content itself is always being updated, and it's indexed much more quickly and efficiently. So we have that ability to have a much more up-to-date system that's always relevant, always changing, and really much different than other existing management platforms themselves. Finally, on the reports and analytics, a high number of different customizable reports that are available. We've got a data visualization engine that allows administrators to see in real time what's going on, how the system is responding, where answers are being appropriate, where there might be some answers that are not meeting people's needs. We can look at peak search analytics, and then also to be able to see the types of articles that are read. And all of this really allows administrators to be able to make sure that we're providing the most relevant information, the most timely information, and that we're meeting the customer's needs on an ongoing real-time basis. So, as a quick summary of the benefits of the Kapture platform, it has state-of-the-art technology. It's got a flexible platform server with API-driven architecture. We can do bulk imports of existing content and articles. It's very transparent and simple pricing when we get to that point. Multilingual support, high availability and reliability, can be run in the cloud or on-premise with automatic language translation and analytics driven. So next, we're going to move on to the knowledge management landscape. And I think we have another poll question coming up here. So here, if you like what you see in terms of the Kapture platform, let us know, and we'd be happy to reach out and tell you more about it. Great. Thank you. We will definitely be reaching out and looking to schedule a meeting with you and talk to you more about the Kapture platform itself. So in looking at the landscape, what we did is we looked at 5 other knowledge platforms and did a comparison against what the Kapture platform provides. Where you can see that we really focused our attention is in the areas where we felt the other platforms were lacking and didn't have the functionality necessary to meet the needs of the customers that we've worked with, that we've helped in the past. And so you can see that the Kapture platform is very highly rated in terms of search, because we focused a lot of attention on search capabilities and really being able to get the most relevant information to the customer, to the user, as quickly and as easily as possible. We also focused on the platform piece because we wanted to make sure that the platform itself was very flexible, very modern, very up-to-date, and could be updated and maintained very easily, both on our side and the customer side. So what we really want is to make sure that it's easy for the authors to use and it's easy for the users to use. And those are the real big areas where Kapture excels. So let's take a quick look at the future of knowledge. What we really see coming up in the future is that this all-round 360-degree view becomes the norm. It becomes much more necessary for a customer to be able to really build this profile and the company to be able to have a full understanding of who they are, and how they can better serve their needs. And a lot of this really does come about with AI, because AI provides the tool for business process transformation to be able to go in and have a better user experience, to learn more about the user, to learn more about what that user does with the knowledge platform. And ultimately, that leads to much more personalized search experiences. We have a lot of analytical capabilities, and we see really that in the future, we're looking much more at the analytics in order to have these modern, high-touch type experiences, ultimately VR-based how-to guides, and support that never sleeps. In other words, the content in the knowledge base is always available. It's always there for customers to access, and they can always have the ability to get information, get answers to their questions 24/7. So just a couple of thoughts, not going to read these to you, but really what you want to focus on is that knowledge management provides improved revenue capabilities, improved financial capabilities, and a much better customer experience. So as we come to the close on this, some of the services that we provide, we work with a number of the platforms, and that's really how we came to the point of having a knowledge and understanding of where to go next and how to build the Kapture platform. And we do this through all of the different components that we're able to provide, all of the different information that we've gathered, and really a clear understanding of what the past has held, what the future holds, and how to create a much better platform itself. So as we come to our last slide, I think we have one other polling question. Just a quick look at the webinar that we provided today. We'd like your feedback on it. And as we finish up this portion of it, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them into the Q&A slide. We have a couple already that I'd like to go through and provide some answers. The first, when can we have a demo of Kapture? The platform itself is currently ready and can be demoed in the beta environment. If you would be interested, please do feel free to call upon us. We would be happy to provide a demo, provide an opportunity to show you how Kapture works, and also to get your feedback on what we've built, how we built it, where you think for your individual needs there might be some additional functionality that's needed. All of that is really part of our process right now as we're in the beta release of Kapture. Second question I have is, can we import knowledge content from external sources like Teams or web pages? Absolutely. We can crawl any other type of resource or source of content so that we can bring as much knowledge into the Kapture platform as possible, so that we don't have to start authoring a number of different articles, that we can use existing resources and bring those into Kapture to build the best knowledge base possible. One of the things that we mentioned is that it can work in a cloud environment. One question says we're not into AWS. Does Kapture work on GCP or other cloud platforms? The answer is yes. We can put Kapture on any platform. We can put it even on-prem if you prefer to have it that way. And so we really can use any type of cloud environment that you're looking for. And really, I think those are the questions that I have. If there's any other questions, please feel free to post them into the Q&A. And if there are no other questions, then I'd like to thank you for your time today and wish you a great day. Thank you very much for attending.